All right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today is a historic day. Okay, today is a historic day. I'm going to show you why. We have officially printed a new all-time high against the Great British Pound and against the Euro too. So, what a wild time to be alive. I've been saying this over and over and over again. We have seen nothing yet, okay? This year is going to be one of the wildest years we have seen in a very, very long time. I expect major volatility, both to the upside and to the downside. I expect to see a whole heap of records set and a whole heap of records broken this year. As ever, one day at a time, we're going to try to stay as unemotional and as unbiased as possible. And at the same time, we're going to try to balance that with some optimism, some positivity, and enjoying being part of this historic move. Of course, the biggest question out there at the moment is how long before Bitcoin surpasses its all-time high in the almighty USD? Of course, the USD, the dollar, is the fastest horse at the glue factory. It is the healthiest sick cow amongst a herd of dying fiat currency cattle, and thus it benefits from having that world reserve status. So, relative strength in the dollar as a result of being a world reserve currency, but this is a ticking time bomb, isn't it? It is not going to be long before we are celebrating new all-time highs against the USD as well. For Bitcoin, we are currently holding above the 1.618 fib extension on the log scale, which has acted as resistance in 2021. If we zoom in and take a look at the daily candles, you can see, we're significantly above this already, as you'll see when we get to the charts. And this is trying to work its way into price discovery. Okay, again, a very, very significant moment in time, a very, very special moment in time for everyone that has been through the bear markets, everyone that's been through multiple cycles, everyone that has done their research and been able to stomach the volatility here. According to Plan B's bull market territory model, we have now got the first red dot signifying that we are about to enter the most exciting, most explosive, most volatile portion of the move as we continue to run towards all-time highs. Whenever I bring up Plan B, there's always a number of people that come out in the comments and hate on Plan B. Look, don't ruin the vibe, okay? If you don't understand standard deviations and that all models are broken, that's on you, okay? Today, we're going to maintain positive vibes, okay? This is what the charts look like. Let's not spoil it by calling people names and saying Plan B doesn't know what he's talking about, okay? Plan B's models have been the best models we've got, and it is what it is. Hopping over to TechDev. TechDev's been putting out some fantastic charts as well. We have got the 2-month parabolic stop and reverse, parabolic SAR, flipped to bullish, okay? Now, here's what's important to note about this. 2-month, meaning each candle, each bar, is 2 months. Typically, 5 to 6 bars has been the number. As you can see here, we flipped to bullish. 5 bars later, we put in a top. As you can see here, we flipped to bullish. 6 bars later, we put in a top. Same again here. 6 bars later, we put in the top. And so far, we've had 2 bars. Tells us to keep an open mind about seeing somewhere between 3 and 4 more bars to go. 3 and 4 more bars times 2 months a bar is, of course, 6 to 8 months of bull market left if this is anything to go by and if this cycle is not indeed going to top early. Tells us to keep an open mind about seeing the top come in somewhere between the end of this year and early next year. And remember, to qualify for a left translated cycle, we need to put in a top before November of this year, which would of course be before the halfway point or the midpoint in the 4-year cycle. So can it left translate? Will it mid translate? Or will we right translate and do the same thing we've always done? That is to be determined. As ever, we continue to take things one day at a time. And as I said before, we're just going to continue to enjoy the ride and try to get as much enjoyment out of this process as possible. Something else that is absolutely fascinating to me is the short-term holder cost basis. Okay, this is a great metric for Bitcoin momentum and buying dips in a bull run. The short-term holder cost basis currently sits at just under $46,000, and this number continues to rise. It's not magic, it's psychology. The short-term holders add more Bitcoin on average when the price approaches their cost basis during a bull run and they're looking to potentially make future gains. Conversely, short-term holders sell their Bitcoin on average when prices meet their cost basis during a bear market as they're fearful of taking further losses and they just want to get out for a break-even trade. So when we see the short-term holders no longer buying at their cost basis during bull runs or no longer selling at their cost basis during bear runs, it can be one of the strongest indicators that the momentum has shifted to the opposite direction. There's no perfect metric, but there is a lot of signal here for those that search for it. So what we can derive from this is any pullback towards around 46k would of course present us with a buy the dip opportunity, particularly if it's to show confluence with daily and weekly cycle lows that are the alpha of this channel, of course. It's also likely this month is a historic month in the sense that it's going to be the first time that we break out for Bitcoin against the money supply, against M1. This will be the first time in around 6 years that we have actually seen Bitcoin print a higher high and a breakout against M1. This is where we begin the true bull market. Over the weekend, IBIT, the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin ETF, did 1.2 billion after hours. Monday is indeed going to be interesting, and particularly with Bitcoin breaking new all-time highs and about to break a new all-time high, or at least going to attempt to break it in the dollar, I imagine the FOMO is going to get pretty real pretty quickly here. All of this against a backdrop of potentially a very bullish year for stocks as well. The S&P 500 is up more than 20% in the past 18 weeks since late October lows, and we've got 11 other times that we have seen this happen. 3 and 6 months later, we were higher 10 out of 11 of those occasions. 1 year later, we were higher 10 times out of 11 as well, with an average gain of 18.1%. This presents yet another clue that we could potentially see outperformance and a fantastic bull run this year. And as if that's not bullish enough, the S&P 500 is up 21.5% over the past 4 calendar months. The 15 previous times that this happened, it was higher 6 months later, 15 out of 15 times. It was also higher a year later, 15 out of 15 times. Again, the blast off that we've seen of late off the October lows is consistent with the early stages of a bull move, and once more tells us to keep an open mind about seeing a much more bullish year than even I was expecting. As ever, we continue to take things one day at a time and be open to pivot in our stance if the market proves me wrong. Last but not least, before we hop into a few charts, we have this, of course, the massive 12 plus year cup and handle for gold. Is it finally gold's time to shine? Are we finally about to break out of here and move significantly higher? As I was saying over the weekend's analysis and repeatedly to members, I had been expecting to see this thing roll over. I had been expecting to look for a short into a weekly cycle low. However, gold seems to know something. As I covered in the weekend's video, it seems to know that the reverse twist is possibly brewing, and gold is apparently trying to break out above this all-time high. And of course, this portion here represents the handle on the absolutely monstrous cup and handle. Here's the cup from all the way back here, right? Huge cup, handle at the hard right edge, trying now to emerge from the handle. So I am looking to get long. I have not yet officially declared being long to the members. I am currently having an internal war with myself. I am currently having to do a lot of introspective work because despite this being a breakout, something deep down in my waters is screaming at me not to take this long trade. And I can't for the life of me work out why. So sometimes it's like that. Sometimes I have to do the introspective work. I'm currently having this internal battle, as I said. I am looking to get long, okay? I have 100% sure as it stands, I have been invalidated on expecting a weekly cycle rollover and one more dive down for me to short. I've completely abandoned that idea and I am now looking for longs, but I can't help but wonder if waiting for a daily cycle low would be the most prudent outcome here for 2 reasons. One, we're probably going to do one of 2 things. Either have some kind of trap, a rollover into a daily cycle low and go, at which case we've got a nice area on the chart to manage risk around. The stop could go below the daily cycle low, and we should be expecting multiple daily cycles ahead of us into that next weekly cycle low, which I expect to form higher up. Or perhaps instead of getting this scenario play out, what we see is a continuation, a pullback into that daily cycle low and go, at which point I still have a much higher probability set up here, a nice area on the chart to manage risk around because the daily cycle low should be the low, okay? We should not be printing failed cycles here. We should not be closing below wherever that low forms. And thus, I wonder if this is the trade to make. So I think, given that we are at least halfway through this daily cycle, it makes the most sense for me to exercise a little bit more patience, wait to see that daily cycle low, and then out of there, I have a very, very high probability setup. Trading is all about stacking the odds in my favor. And if I long here, I'm going to have a stop quite low down somewhere in this neighborhood. And if I long here and it does something like this, that would be perfectly normal and to be expected. Why not just wait? You could, of course, argue that maybe we're going to rip higher and then pull back. But again, I think I would rather pay slightly more for my gold and have a much tighter stop and a much higher probability setup. So that's how I'm dealing with it. As ever, I'll continue to notify the members of every trade when I make it. For now, though, still sitting here having this internal war with myself, trying to figure out exactly what is wrong with me and why I have developed a gun shyness towards this trade. Of course, as always, on a Monday, not a great deal has changed since the weekend. Stocks, I'm still going to be sitting out of the way, waiting to see if I can find a nice entry for the S&P and the Nasdaq to re-enter. I still have my Dow Jones long, all the while we hold above support, but of course close below that, and I will be taking the profit on this trade and going back to flat, ready to buy the next cycle lows. The Russell 2K, we're still pushing this all the while we don't violate support. I suspect the crypto-related equities are going to start to moon, given that Bitcoin, here you go, okay, big gap on Coinbase. I bet MicroStrategy is the same. Yeah, okay, we're going into berserk mode. So it's going to be really, really tough. I can tell you this from experience. It's going to be really, really tough to manage expectation, to manage emotion here. If you find yourself showing people your screenshots of profit, okay, me and my wife have a rule. If I ever pull my phone out and show her a screenshot of profit, or I show her an account balance, the first thing she does, she's under strict instruction to force me to sell in front of her, okay? So maybe develop something like that if you find yourself sending screenshots of profit to people, it is usually a very, very, very good indicator that you're about to get wrecked and you're about to get humbled. So if you've got a spouse or a significant other, maybe let them know about this rule that me and my wife have. It's worked plenty of times before. So things are going to get very euphoric. Things are going to get very, very bullish. And all we can really do is continue to push the trades until it becomes unreasonable to stop pushing them. Someone asked me to cover Riot. I don't really have a great deal to say, right? Long and strong, continue to push. We'll see what the market can give. These trend lines look wonky because I've started to analyze these in log. For some of them, the log trend lines just seem to fit a lot better. So that's why some of these look wonky. I am still looking to add a marathon position, but I'm probably going to end up waiting for that 60-day cycle low. Again, I'll notify the members. I seem to be flat wrong about oil. Thought we'd roll over by now. Seems like we're going to put in a right translated daily cycle and perhaps continue higher. So we'll see. I'm not really interested in long in oil. I think the opportunity to long oil was back here and I missed it. If we break this upward sloping red support line, I am interested in short in oil. But admittedly, it seems a little bit like I've missed this boat and I'm fine with that. I'm okay with just letting this go. I don't have to take every single trade. Since gold is breaking out, it's also worth noting a lot of people want me to cover silver and the miners. I absolutely will be, okay? But we need gold to enter a true bull market. Gold moves first, and then the higher beta plays come in to focus. So there will be a time for me to start adding a bunch of miners, a bunch of ETFs for gold, silver junior miners, all of that good stuff. But we need to get gold confirming a true bull market, a true all-time high break, and a run to 2300 and beyond for silver and these miners to start playing ball. So they've got a lot of work to do. I will be paying attention to them. Just as an example, if I pull up the senior miners here, you know, there's a long way to go before we can start to entertain. I take this off a log so the line fits better. Long way to go before we can start to entertain longs, right? I don't even really have much desire to play this. So we've got quite a bit here before we can actually say this thing is trying to break out. So again, the time will come, but the time is not yet. Of course, the bull of all bulls is Bitcoin. Take a look at Bitcoin, okay? Continues to do Bitcoin things very, very close to all-time high. Like I was saying earlier, you know, historic moment in time here. Have to be open and aware that we are possibly getting in that neighborhood where we could see a half cycle low shakeout. Perhaps that coincides with hitting the all-time high and then rejecting to trap a bunch of people into thinking that that is a triple top. Ultimately, the next big opportunity should be, if this count is correct, around the 8th of April. And until then, you know, we know our levels, right? We covered all that in the weekend's analysis. All we can really do is remain long and strong and see what the market will give. The dollar continues to try to break down, apparently. So happy days there, okay? Overall, long and strong, continue to push, and we'll see what the market can give. We'll continue to take this one day at a time. The focus, again, I should reiterate, especially for me, not just especially for me, but for everyone, right? For everyone here. We're in a bull market. It feels really good. It feels really, really good to make some gains. It feels like you're a genius all the time, right? But remember, in fact, maybe work this into your daily routine. Pull yourself up a chart of Bitcoin and the dollar or whatever, something like this. Click it on year to date or 1 year timeline, okay? You're not a genius. Neither am I, okay? How do you lose money in that environment, okay? If you buy something in this environment and it goes up, right? Are you really a genius? I mean, you could argue that if you bought right down here, maybe you knew something, okay? Maybe you'd conducted analysis. But my point is simple, okay? Enjoy the gains, but stay humble. Don't do anything stupid. It hurts way, 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 way more to mess up this opportunity by trying to get cute and by getting greedy than it does to just sit here in a position, let it ride and say, okay, I was mature, I handled it, I've increased my wealth. So other than that, welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. I'm your boy Camel. I hope you're doing well in life. Until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.